You see this entire list of genres right here? I'm currently listening to the top album in every single genre on this list. This is a list from every genre on the website albumoftheyear.org, and while it might not be as extensive as something like Rate Your Music, I mean, for God's sake, just look at how many genres they have. Jesus. This is still worth the challenge, I think. So I decided to take initiative and listen to every single album, well, okay, not every single album, but every single top album in these genres. And so I decided, hey, why don't I document this on my YouTube channel since I'm already quite far through it. And so I decided to kind of do this thing where I do a whole bunch of little mini jokey reviews and kind of mixing, you know, sort of a more funny feel with a more serious tone, I guess, you know. I've been watching a lot of Mike the Snare recently. He's a pretty underappreciated YouTube channel, which you should check out. He makes a lot of these videos where he summarizes albums into like these really short reviews, and I just love his style. I kind of want to, you know, include that into this type of thing, but, you know, of course put my own spin on it. I don't want to rip him off directly, because, I mean, he's definitely doing it better than I am at this point, but I hope you enjoy this video. It's a bit experimental, but yeah, hopefully I'll continue doing this in the future. Hope you enjoy. I've been meaning to listen to some more of MF Doom's music for a while, especially since I love Mad Villainy so much, and it isn't as great as Mad Villainy, and yeah, there are a few duds here, but for the most part it's a really enjoyable abstract hip-hop album. Plus it just really made me appreciate how MF Doom raps on beats. It's pretty cool. It essentially turned to background music after a while, but I do definitely get what it's going for. It really does sound like an album that'll be put under the genre Acid House. To be honest, I just love this album for that bass riff and Just Another Story. Apart from that, it's a really solid and funky album. A bit long-winded at times, but man, I had this on repeat for quite a while, I'll tell you that much. You know, without this album, I would never have listened to every single David Bowie album. That cover just immediately convinced me. The rest of the album is amazing, by the way. I'm sorry, but this is what America chose to be a #1 hit. Why? Just why? That title ain't wrong. If I want some sad music, I go to someone like Mount Eerie or Radiohead, not this overly dramatic piano ballad album that tries way too hard to be emotional. Also, spoiler alert, this is the worst in the genre run so far. I never thought the backstory behind an album would enhance my enjoyment of it this much, but honestly, this actually kind of did. It's like a history lesson, scrolling through all the information about it and stuff. It's pretty cool, but for the album itself, it's a really fun combination of funk, jazz, and traditional African music. Check it out. You know, I'm usually a sucker for this type of music. I mean, it's catchy, it's upbeat. I mean, I had high expectations going into this. I like some of Burna Boy's features, so what about a full-length album? It turns out listening to this guy on the same beat for a whole hour can get really tiring after a while. I mean, there are some standouts, but nothing to really write home about. At first I thought this was boring, but then later I realized, wait a second, this is one of the most beautiful country albums I've ever heard. It even reminds me of OK Computer at some points, especially with those guitars. The middle section specifically I think is amazing, but the rest of the album unfortunately doesn't do much for me. I'm not calling it bad at all, because for the most part I really like it, but it could either be the sound being a bit dated or the songs not being as memorable as the middle part, but that's my theory. I've heard some more of their music is good, so I'll be on the lookout for it. This album seriously threw me for a loop when I first heard it. On one hand I was like, wait, is this something people actually enjoy? But on the other hand I was more of, wait, why am I actually enjoying this? Once I get used to the very weird and unusual sound of this album, it clicks with you hard. Easily some of the most unique metal I've ever headbanged to. The album was pretty good, but once I got to Pyramids, oh, it was an event. Once those synths came in, the hype was absolutely real. And then, you know what? Screw it. Oh, the rest of the album was great. Amazing album. Now I get why everyone loves Frank Ocean so much. I mean, I did before, but now I really get it. Having only heard Friday I'm in Love like the basic person I am, going into this album, whoa! Can't say I ever saw this one coming. Easily one of the most intoxicating and dreamy albums I've ever heard. Huh, I'm in space now. Crazy what music can do to a person. I get what it's going for. In fact, I like what it's going for. It's great in concept, but personally, the album just feels a little bit too samey for my taste of points. Plus, at times, the mixing is quite harsh for me. But I definitely get the appeal, though. It's revolutionary for the time, and nothing too special today. And that's not really saying much, because I still think this album is amazing. What on earth is American primitivism? Okay, so it's some guy playing guitar. Well, I can't lie, he's good at guitar, I'll give him that. I literally don't remember a single thing from this album. You ever listen to music and think to yourself, wow, I'm so glad music exists, 'cause this is what Kate Bush does to you. I don't think any song could ever match the sheer power of the opening track. I didn't have an awful lot to say about this one, but all in all, it's a really fun punk album. It didn't do too much for me outside that. That's basically it. I really can't help but love Brian Eno's combination of rock, electronic, and ambient music. One of the most unique art rock albums I've ever had the pleasure to listen to. The combination of folk and black metal was basically something I never see myself liking, but for some reason I do. This album actually is quite atmospheric in a way. It feels like I'm walking through a dark forest in the middle of a stormy night. It's a weird feeling, but one I quite like. Even reminds me of Have a Nice Life at times. Oh, this didn't sound too bad. Nico was one thing I loved about the Velvet Underground's debut, so I can imagine this would sound quite sweet yet haunting. This didn't sound too bad. I really liked stuff like A Love Supreme and A Kind of Blues, so I can imagine this would sound smooth yet sort of exhilarating. Wow, this sounds exactly like something I'd hate. What a cheesy idea to mix blues and metal together. That literally never works. But why do I like it so much?